Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be going over an upcoming interesting pattern which is going to be unfolding over the lower 48. We're going to have warm temperatures out, especially over the central and northern United States, and then along the east coast and over parts of the eastern United States we're going to be dealing with chillier temperatures over the next few days, and then it should transition over for most areas over the United States to a milder, warmer pattern, and that's generally going to be what we're going to be talking about today in today's video. We're going to be looking at your high temperatures as well as your temperature anomalies and also what the Climate Prediction Center is showing for this upcoming pattern. And we're going to be discussing all of that and more in today's video. Here's what the current National Weather Service page looks like. And you can see it is actually quite active today. We have red flag warnings in effect in that pink for the Dakotas, Nebraska, a little bit of Wyoming and Montana, as well as some little portion of northwestern Minnesota, with some fire weather watches which are scattered throughout parts of the northern plains and kind of that very light tan color. We have some more red flag warnings for parts of Colorado and Arizona, as well as a much larger area of freeze warnings in the dark blue there, which covers much of the mid-Mississippi River Valley, the Tennessee Valley, parts of the southeast, and then also going up into even parts of the Ohio Valley as well. We have one area of hard freeze warnings in effect for parts of central Tennessee, as well as some freeze watches in effect for parts of central Mississippi, southern and western Arkansas, and eastern Oklahoma, as well as for northern South Carolina and southern North Carolina. We also have wind advisories which are scattered throughout parts of the Appalachians and then down through the central Gulf states, and that's in that light brown color there. And then we have winter weather advisories which are still up for parts of West Virginia, Maryland, upstate New York, Pennsylvania, and back through northern Vermont as well, with some flood watches up in northern Maine. So yesterday we had a high temperature at Falcon Lake, Texas of 94 degrees, same at Dundee, Florida, where they also got to 94 degrees. That was the high temperature for the entire nation yesterday. And the low temperature was in Peter Sinks, Utah, where they got to negative 15 degrees Fahrenheit. And then the highest precipitation or rainfall report was in Calhoun City, Mississippi, where they got 5.15 inches of rainfall. The highest snowfall report was 13 miles east-northeast of Wilsall, Montana, where they got 7 inches of reported snowfall yesterday. Here's what the current radar looks like with the precipitation types activated, and you can see that we do have mostly rain along the eastern seaboard. So if you go, I would say probably 100 or so miles inland, that's when you're going to start to get into, or probably closer to 50, 75 miles inland is when you're actually going to start to get into more of that snowfall. And you can see that for the interior northeast, we're actually getting some moderate to heavy snowfall at times. The NAM model was surprisingly correct, not just yet, but the NAM still has a chance to verify completely because we do have cold temperatures through parts of the coastal northeast where the NAM was showing snowfall. We have temperatures in the upper 30s and low 40s currently, so you go a couple degrees colder, you have probably some snowfall that might start falling. So we'll continue to monitor that. The NAM was also one of the more eastern models that moved this storm a little bit further to the east, and that is what actually happened. So the NAM really hit a home run on the storm. You can see some really strong bands of snowfall about to move through areas like Plattsburgh, Burlington, and then because Albany's in a lower elevation, probably still in the form of rainfall for those areas. But just very interesting to see a type of storm set up the way it is right now. And then you have that lake effect, which is going on through western Pennsylvania, eastern Ohio, and southwestern New York. And that's not really associated with the storm. This is more just from lake effect snowfall in those areas. So here's what the European model is showing for the temperature anomalies, and this is going to show you the departure from normal. So for example, if your average high temperature over a certain day is 60 degrees, and on that particular day you actually get to 55 degrees, you're going to have a -5 printed on the screen, and vice versa. If you had a 65 degree temperature, yours would indicate just a 5, which indicates 5 degrees above normal. So the above normal temperatures are in the orange, the reds, and the browns as well, and the dark reds, and that is the above average region. The below average region is in the blues, the greens, the purples, and that area is what we're dealing with below normal temperatures or colder than normal temperatures. So this would be by tomorrow, and we're dealing with above normal temperatures all throughout parts of the western United States and the northern plains as well. But you can see the Arctic air mass, which is actually in place still after that system departs. So your low pressure by this point is up here. So here's where your low pressure is. And on the back end of this, behind the sweeping cold front, which I'll draw in on your screen right here, here's your cold front right like this, and then here's your warm front right here. Behind there is a big high pressure system that's bringing in a lot of cold air that's funneling straight from northern Quebec in Canada and going all the way down into parts of the southern United States. So pretty much like an Arctic type of air mass, not to the full extent, but still a fairly potent air mass, bringing temperatures that are 15 to 20 degrees below normal for tomorrow, and the complete opposite just a few hundred miles away over parts of the northern plains in the western United States. If we go to Saturday, you can see that we have still below normal temperatures hugging the southeast, not as cold, so we won't have as many freezing issues, but still, you're about 5 to 15 degrees below average, depending on where you live, along the East Coast as well, and then down through the south central part of the country. But it's really starting to be on the northern end overtaken with a little bit of warmer air. And then you're going to see that by Sunday, we get into a much nicer, milder pattern for Easter Sunday. So really go out and enjoy your Easter Sunday, because it will be quite beautiful over much of the country. In the southern United States, won't be too cold, considering that your average temperatures this time of year are in the 60s and 70s, so a couple degrees below normal. It's not going to be a huge deal. And then in the northern United States, where your average temperatures are a little bit colder, if you're 20 degrees above normal, you're going to be in the 70s for Easter. So it's definitely going to be a nice type of pattern for Easter Sunday. So definitely go out and enjoy your festivities with your families. So we're gonna have above normal temperatures over, again, the northern and western United States, still hugging the Gulf Coast though, with a little bit of below normal temperatures. Here to be by Monday, and you can see that we do have those warmer temperatures still over much of the United States, not just even the northern or western United States, and now just within a few miles of the Gulf Coast. So you can see the only areas hanging on to a bit of below normal activity is actually going to be areas like Florida, the Gulf Coast, parts of the southeast as well. So really, it's narrowing out. And it's really starting to be overtaken with a lot of warmer air. This would be by Tuesday of next week. So this is by April 6th, and we're looking at more of that warmer, pretty much for all of southern Canada and also for the entire part of the United States. You have a few areas straggling along the Gulf Coast that are below normal, as well as due to a low pressure system in South Dakota, Nebraska, and Wyoming, a little bit of below normal temperatures there. But this is the most filled in map with one color that I've seen in quite a while, and it's all above normal over much of the country, which I think a lot of you guys will actually enjoy, to be able to go out in the nice 60s or 70s and actually go out and enjoy the nice weather. This would be by Wednesday on April 7th. We're dealing with that low pressure going down into Texas. So this is your low pressure. It's going to be moving into the Tennessee and Ohio valleys, and you're going to see that area bring some below normal temperatures. But you can see for the rest of the United States, the eastern United States, the western United States, even as you get back up through the northern plains, we're dealing with above normal temperatures. And then you even go down into the Gulf Coast, and we're also dealing with above normal temperatures in this region. So even if it's just by a couple degrees, it's really filling in over much of the country. So you can see how this one pattern is really overtaking. This is, again, just the European model's view, but many models have something at least close to similar to what this model is showing. And then this would be by Thursday of next week. So this is the 7-day mark, and you can see that we have that low pressure, which is right here. It's bringing in a lot of warm air, while also dragging in a lot of cold air. And that's generally how the dynamic of this low pressure is going to be. So you're going to see a little bit of cold air be stretched out through areas in the Ohio Valley, the Mid-Atlantic, and then back through the Mississippi River Valley. But it's going to be temporary, and you're going to go right back to the warmer temperatures. Here's what the high temperatures are going to be like, and you can see that we have for tomorrow very cold temperatures actually over parts of the eastern United States for this time of year. And again, this is the area that is 15 to 20 degrees below normal for this time of year, especially over the southeast. So you can see that areas in the northeast are dealing with high temperatures in the 30s, 20s, even over a few isolated areas. But you go up, for example, an area like Georgia is seeing a high temperature in the 40s and 50s tomorrow, and then an area like North Dakota is going to be dealing with temperatures that are going to go all the way up into the mid 70s. So you can see how kind of upside down our pattern is, with all that warm air displaced in the western United States, with all that cold, dry air which is getting displaced into the eastern United States. So it's a really interesting pattern to look at on these temperature maps, because you can really see the disparity just between a few hundred miles of one place to another. Here to be by Saturday, and we're dealing with even warmer temperatures up through the Great Plains. So you can see now we're getting into the upper 70s, and maybe even some low 80s in a few areas, especially for parts of the Southwest. That's where you're really going to be warming up, especially in the desert areas and some of those areas that are a little bit farther away from the ocean. Still colder in parts of the eastern United States. Not as cold. You're going to actually get into the 50s and 40s on Saturday, so a little bit warmer, but still fairly chilly for this time of year. And then as you get into Sunday, we really start to warm up, and much of the country is going to have temperatures in the 70s and maybe a few 60s. But if you live in the interior Northeast, the northern New England region, or in the Northwest or the Rockies, you're still going to be stuck in those 40s and 50s. Unfortunately, it'll take you a couple more days to really warm up. So this would be by Monday. Still warm over much of the country. You have temperatures that are getting up into even the 80s, and where you kind of see that darker red color starting to filter in. This is temperatures that are getting into the 80s, and that would be for southern Nebraska, as far north as southern Nebraska, getting in on there. And you can see that the 70s go all the way up to parts like central Minnesota, South Dakota, Wyoming, even getting in on some of those warmer temperatures. So definitely a very, very warm pattern that we're going into for much of the country, not even just parts of the western United States. This is going to be overtaking much of the country in general. This would be by Tuesday. Not much has changed by Wednesday. Still dealing with something fairly similar, although it does cool down for the northern United States. It'll still be, I think, a little bit above average, but it won't be as above average. It won't be 15 to 20 degrees above normal, probably just 5 or 10 degrees above normal. So it'll look a little bit chillier, it'll feel a little bit chillier, but know that it's actually a little bit above what you're used to for this time of year. And here's what the Climate Prediction Center is showing, because they're definitely on board with this type of pattern. They do have a little bit of below average out for the western United States. I would personally have just filtered that in for the Northwest and not really for areas like California and Nevada, because I think it will be warm enough in those areas that you really won't feel the below average. But that's what their forecast is anyway, and they're also showing a high probability over the entire part of the eastern and central part of the country of seeing above normal temperatures during the 6 to 10 day time frame from the 6th through the 10th, and you can see even an area of 70 to 80% chance of above normal in that kind of light red color, or even a light pink color there over parts of the central United States. Here would be that 8 to 14 day outlook, and you can see that for the 8th through the 14th we have below normal, now spreading a little bit further to the inland over parts of the western United States. You can also see that average area where there is equal chances of being above or below normal through parts of the Mid-Atlantic, the Ohio River Valley as well, and some of the surrounding areas. But for the most part, the eastern United States, especially if you live up through parts of the upper Great Lakes and in northern New England, as well as for parts of the southeast and south central United States, are now transitioning to a little bit of above normal conditions. So you guys are definitely going to enjoy those warmer temperatures. And then as we go through the 3 to 4 week outlook from the Climate Prediction Center from the 10th through the 23rd, you can see that anywhere that's within this 70% contour right here, all through here, has a 70% chance or greater over the 3 to 4 week outlook, which is actually a fairly high probability on their outlooks, to have above normal temperatures, and you can see that even they have an 80 contour, which is actually the first time I've ever seen them put an 80% contour on their maps. So that's the first time I've ever seen that on their 3 to 4 week outlook. So definitely, they're definitely very confident in this forecast actually panning out. They otherwise would not have put such high percentiles on the screen right now. Here would be the 1 month outlook for the entire month of April, considering that it is the first day of April. They did release their April forecast just yesterday, and you can see that they have that 60% chance highlighted in the upper Great Lakes of seeing above normal temperatures during that time frame, 50% chance, so a fairly decent shot over this area right here, over the central part of the country and into parts of northern New England, and then the rest of the eastern and central and even parts of the western United States have at least a 33% chance of being above normal during that time frame. So that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.